Whether it was a smart decision or not, I'm still deciding.
We can go to the Holly.
We took Terrence Roberts to the Holly.
So here come the Bloods right now.
To the exact spot in Northeast Park Hill where the anti-gang activist shot and paralyzed a man in 2013.
Can we talk on camera? Keep it rolling, because this would be some good footage for you.
I don't have nothing to hide.
What happens next is truly 8 years in the making.
Because I defended myself.
No, you shot that dude. That's what you did.
I defended myself. P, why you harassing me, P? Why you harassing me, Pernell? Listen, homie. Get out my face, bro. Get out my face, homie.
Y'all ain't kids.
Your mama's a... What you want to do, homie? What's up?
Wait.
What's up?
Stop.
But first, to understand the truth
All that. It was all a lie.
and the intensity of this confrontation,
Get out of my face, young man.
you have to know his story. Whether you choose to believe it is your choice.
I never wanted to be a gangster. My life just unfolded that way. One thing led to another.
45-year-old Terrence Roberts went from gangster to reformer to you decide.
I was selling crack. I was selling drugs. I was a runaway. I was 18 with $30,000 in cash.
In the 80s, it wasn't just crack cocaine that migrated east from South Central LA. The infamous gangs donning blue and red came too.
It landed here. One of the first places it landed was in Northeast Denver, first on the 5 Points with the Crips.
In the 90s, the corner of Northeast Park Hill, known as the Holly, became the hub of the community and Blood's activity.
If you were not as good in basketball as Chauncey Billups, if you were not going to the NFL, you either better be very, very intelligent, like a super intelligent kid that's going to Harvard, or you're gonna have to fall in line, you're gonna have to fight. It was a movement. Gang violence became a movement.
Terrence spent ages 14 to 26 gangbanging, AKA committing criminal activity for the Bloods, spending a total of 10 years in prison.
I haven't been arrested like 50 times, but I've been arrested quite a few for like weapons cases, fighting, gang violence, shootings, whatever.
While serving time for a weapons charge in 2004, Terrence began reading the teachings of MLK, Malcolm X, and Jesus Christ.
And the same way I fell in love with gangster rap and wanted to be a Blood in 89 and 90, I started falling in love with, I couldn't wait to get locked in my cell so I could read the Bible.
Terrence, when he came out of the joint, for example, you know, he was true. He really had this burning fire to make a difference.
With 39 years in the anti-violence game,
And that was in the early 80s.
Reverend Leon Kelly, creator of Open Door Youth Gang Alternatives, was a mentor of Terrence's.
I was a young man fresh out of prison, trying to learn how to be an organizer, wanting to be a revolutionary, and these were just babies just saying we don't want to be Crips and Bloods. It went from 11 kids to 30 kids, and next thing you know, I have 60 kids stuffed in the classroom. Let's get going and let's clean it up.
Terrence's camo movement, asking gangs to forego the red and blue in favor of unifying camouflage, received praise from the mayor, the governor, and quite a few fat-pocketed donors.
This is showing our youth that you don't have to join a street gang to represent your community.
Terrence was an unstoppable force.
We start with a developing story in the North Park Hill neighborhood.
Police tell us that one adult male shot another adult male.
39-year-old Terrence Roberts claims self-defense when he shot Hassan Jones, who survived but is now paralyzed.
Current gang members don't always love the moves and message of the reformed. Tension turned to bloodshed at Terrence's own peace rally.
I had been beefing with Hassan all that day.
23-year-old Blood Hassan Jones was among the crowd that started gathering for Terrence's rally that Friday evening in September 2013.
And I asked him, like, you gonna F me up? And he's like, yeah, we'll be over there in a minute on Bloods. And so when he said that, I had my gun in my truck. He was like, let's get him. And they tried to collapse on me, and that's when I upped my pistol and I shot in their direction to defend myself.
Investigation of criminal intent, first-degree murder.
2 of 5 bullets paralyzed Hassan, and Terrence found himself facing a life sentence.
I didn't think they were going to attack me at my peace rally. I was carrying my gun, though, because they were threatening me and leaving notes, leaving knives.
Ultimately, a jury believed Terrence did act in self-defense. Despite acquittal, 8 years later, he's still answering for those 5 shots.
Can we talk after you get done talking to them?
About what?
We weren't the only ones who had questions for Terrence when we took a stroll back through his old neighborhood. These men are also former Bloods who believe Hassan's shooting was premeditated.
And the reason why you got off and nobody coming to testify on you is because of the same guys you talk bad about. The reason why didn't nobody, all them you shot.
Why they try to jump me?
Didn't nobody come testify on you?
Why
brother.
they try to jump me, Pilo? They did try to jump me. It's on camera.
National Geographic.
It's on that camera.
Why'd you get caught trying to plant a knife?
Because they put the knife right there. You gonna let me talk?
Okay.
You gonna let me talk, brother? It was 60 Bloods.
Ain't nobody. Come on, homie. This man was
At his
right
shop.
there. You're lying.
It's on camera.
Only your
How did I
story.
get acquitted?
This is
Stay
not
out my
a
face,
story.
bro.
No one got hurt this day,
I'm gonna de-escalate this, and I'm gonna leave, guys, okay?
although there wasn't much resolution either.
As it was with Terrence, you know, he was a work still in process. But when you think that have become so mighty and so engulfed in, look at what I've done, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, this is, you can't tell me nothing. That becomes an issue.
Terrence sowed good seeds, and I ain't seen no Blood, no Crip do what Terrence has done.
The bad guys don't always win, guys.
This is a neighborhood still divided on what really went down that fateful night and what really caused the rise and fall of the hood's hero.
That's who I am, man. I want to be a revolutionary. That's what I care about. I care about doing things for my people. And yes, there are some negative things attached to my life, but since that time, my intentions have been to just help my people the best I can.
It's the longest wait of a mother's life when you're waiting for a doctor to come out. It seemed like it just happened yesterday.
The vicious cycle of gang warfare, violence, then suffering.
Who shoots someone that many times?
Loretta Powell's 23-year-old son, Eric, was shot 9 times by a rival gang member in a revenge killing.
It takes a big toll. You lose everything. As the parent, my life has changed. I'm not that same person anymore. Anger sets in.
Eric's brutal death at the corner of Colfax and Wabash never made the news.
How many funerals did I do the month of September? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cases.
Laying souls to rest.
These are all funerals.
Has been a calling for George Roberts for 42 years.
Okay.
2021 has been one of his busiest years to date.
Okay.
These boxes hold funeral programs from the last several years.
These is babies, man, that left this earth. At least 70% are homicides.
How many of those do you think are gang related?
70%. It's a war, and it's kids. It ain't the OGs, it's the kids.
Of the 95 homicides in Denver in 2020, 16 were labeled gang-related. 16 out of 95. Only 3 of 75 have that distinction so far this year.
The past 2 years have been year-round. It's getting worse day by day. Pipkin Braswell, Tori Watts speaking. How can I help you?
Tori Watts manages family relations for Pipkin Braswell Funeral Home in Park Hill. Tori estimates the funeral home has buried close to 24 homicide victims in 2021.
We've done 3 youth homicides in a week, to where we had to call, police to just be on standby.
DPD's gang unit says there's a complicated threshold to label a murder gang-related. For one, the suspect must self-identify as a gang member.
Surprisingly, you'll get that parent is like, well, they died at G, or they died, and they're submitting pictures with their loved one with guns and stacks of money and drinks and liquor in their programs, which means you as a parent also accepted this lifestyle and this behavior.
Certainly gangs have become an acceptable part of our culture.
Gang violence doesn't dominate headlines like it did in the 90s and early 2000s.
We don't want to hear about it anymore. And just because you don't want to hear about it anymore doesn't mean that it stopped.
Reverend Leon Kelly has used his nonprofit, Open Door Youth Gang Alternatives, as a method of gang intervention for 39 years. He started documenting gang casualties in 1988.
It's pages. All these people are gone. They're gone.
Who is this?
Uncle Fat.
Uncle Fat.
Uncle Fat.
Uncle Fat.
For Loretta,
because my oldest son is gone.
Her son will always be more than a name on a page.
Your life isn't as bad as you think it is. until you walked in my shoes.
This ain't gonna change. Every time you see a bird fly, somebody just died.
The man who preaches change doesn't see any coming.
We dying, y'all, and we need to come together.